having the plug up at the top means that you've got this much room that you have to compensate for. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer Tech. This is tech that's going to go in my car. The VANTRUE OnDash N4 high-end dash cam for your drive. It's a triple camera array, so you get a camera that points forward through your windshield, you get a camera that points into the cabin, and you get a camera that points through the back of your car too. Here's some QR codes for if you're interested, but the front camera is 1440p, cabin 1080p, 1080p rear camera 30 frames per second with a Sony Starvis CMOS sensor, super capacitor, infrared night vision, auto infrared cut, 2.45-inch IPS LCD display, emergency protection, parking monitor, time-lapse, heat-resistant, and GPS track is optional. I have no experience with other dash cams, but it's something I've wanted to get for a while. I will put links in the description for this. They also shared a discount code with me that I can share with you, so it will give you an extra percentage off of this device, and it is available from Amazon. So here we go, breaking the seal. Paperwork. Lots of paperwork, but everything's separately packaged. So this is rear camera, this is front camera, here's more power accessory, the docking base, power cables, and books. First of all, thank you for choosing VANTRUE. If you register the device, you get 18 months warranty. If you make a video review and they like it, you can get upgraded to a GPS receiver unit. So here's the information for that. Quick start guide. So we'll get into that. And then the actual book itself, is it all color? It is all color. Full color manual, looks to be pretty good. Here's the main camera unit itself, the VANTRUE front and cabin camera. So this is the brains of the device. It's actually fairly lightweight, so that's nice. It's not going to be too much weight hanging off the window. So I'm happy with that. The screen is 2.45-inch IPS display. There's the 1080p camera. This is tiltable, so you can get the view that you want for in cabin. And you have all your control buttons. Looks like the mount is going to send power through the mount, so there'll be some wiring for that. More ports here. USB-C, HDMI out, SD card reset. This is probably cooling vent. Nice. This one is the rear facing camera, so this one you would put into your rear window and shoot at the back so that if anyone's going to ram into you from behind, you get them on video. This is again an adjustable camera, so you can tilt that and it just looks like it sticks onto your rear window. You get some extra adhesive stuff in the bag and then a really long cable. This one plugs into here and then this goes to USB-C. USB-C would plug into the main brains of the unit here. It even says that on there, rear camera. I took everything else out. Here's the window base. It's smaller than I thought. Again, fairly light. So suction cup has USB-C pass-through, so that's where it's going to get power in. And then this is where it sends power to the camera through the top there. And then the main power cord is here. It is fixed wire in the DC type socket, so there is no alternative to that. Again, it's just a long USB-C cable, so that's just going to power it up. So they're calling this the VANTRUE dual charger. I only see one port. I'm not sure what makes it dual. And I realized that flips off to the side, and then there's an additional USB port in there. And then we have a standard USB cable, USB 2.0A to USB-C. This is likely not for in-car, but I still have to read the book and see how to hook up all of this stuff. I got everything all unboxed and I clipped it onto the mount, and I was thinking before I take it into the car and try and run all the wires around, why don't I test it first, just plugged into USB power, see how that works. So I'm going to put in a micro SD card right now. Put in a fairly fast and large USB card. This is a 128 Lexar U3, so that'll be plenty of space and plenty of speed for it to do the triple kind of camera recording simultaneously. I'd imagine that's why they want a fast card, is because it has to be able to record from all three cameras at the same time. Alright, that's clipped in. Now, power it on and we'll see what happens. So it would sit in the car this way. Well, you'll have power coming in through the top here. Okay, setup, initial setup in English, okay. It was created from the future. Now, one thing about, they call this a supercapacitor camera, so it doesn't actually have a battery in it. So I'm wondering how long can it sit unpowered before it loses date and time and all that information. So I don't know. Card error, please format SD card. Okay, hit menu. It's not a touchscreen. System setup, okay. We'll go down to format SD card, okay. Format, okay. And then you can do how long for LCD to turn off. It's currently set to never turn off. You can have it set to turn off every 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes. Never turn off for now, so I can always see what's going on. Device sound. It's just a volume. System information. Files, record setup, system setup. That's it. So that makes it nice and simple. Record setup, okay. So resolution options, okay. Front cabin and rear. So if it's set on max. I'm going to have it on max. Might as well. Why wouldn't you? Unless it's a problem. I'm going to try and keep it on max. The loop recording. Yeah, it's set to loop every 3 minutes. I have it 1 minute, 3 minute off. I guess I'll just leave it at defaults and then decide how do I want that, because I've never had a dash cam before. Infrared LEDs set for automatically turn on at night. Nice, okay. G sensor set for medium. That's if you get in a crash, it's going to try and record the incident. Audio recording is set for on. Yes, I definitely want that. Parking mode is not going to be a big thing for me, because since this camera does not have a battery built in and my power ports do not stay powered on when the car is off, you would have to hardwire it in for this to work. I'll leave it off, and then if I really like this camera and decide I'm going to keep it in permanently, I would look at getting a permanent installation option. And then exposure, you can then adjust the exposure up and down for each camera. WDR, I don't know what WDR is. Number plate, that lets me type in my number plate for whatever reason. VANTRUE stamp is on. I don't really want VANTRUE stamp on. Number stamp, speed stamp, GPS location, okay. Rotate display, time lapse. You can do time lapses off. Okay. So if I wanted to do a front cam time lapse or in camera time lapse for a long road trip, you can do that with this. So that's pretty fun too. So you can use it as like a sort of a normal camera on top of a dash cam. Is it on there? Now it's automatically recording. Looks like this is in black and white already, probably because this cover, I guess I got to remove the cover. Okay, looks to be pretty good. So currently it's doing front camera, back camera, and it hasn't complained that I don't have the rear camera plugged in, but that would be recording too in 1080p if it was plugged in. And then it's going to loop every 3 minutes over itself. I would rather have it be longer time. I want to have longer stuff. Well, so I'll play around with that later, see if I can figure that out. But overall, looks pretty good. Figured I might as well make sure it all works so before I get it out to the car. I plugged in the rear camera. Now everything's coming up in color, and it automatically, you hear like a shutter noise, it automatically detects if it's low, getting some weird glare, so it automatically put this one in low color. This one's kind of glitching out a little bit. Probably just a loose connection, dirt in the connection or something. It's still kind of glitching out a little bit. Now they're both doing that kind of weird colory shift. So looks like plugging in this camera has caused a little bit of an issue. You can change your view. So this is main camera view, rear camera view, front camera view, but I just got to figure out why is it glitching. Every time you unplug the rear camera, it reboots. Runs great when it's without rear camera plugged in. Looks clean and nice, has no problem. Let me just recheck my connections here. Oh, it detected a crash. I dropped the camera and it locked that file because it detected the impact. So that file is going to be write protected where it's not going to write over it. I'm going to plug in the rear camera again while it's recording. Actually, you probably shouldn't do that. We powered off. Goodbye. Okay, now it's all off. Plugging in the USB-C for the rear camera. Powered on. And we'll see if it still glitches out. Yep. Doesn't like my rear camera. Or I'll check for firmware updates too. That's another thing. I want to see if there's a software update for this. I tested it in the office here before we ever put it in the car. is to see, because can you imagine if I ran all this wire all through my roof and dash and got it all nice and then realized that afterwards that it didn't work? Yeah, that's no good. It glitches that side and this side, so I don't like that very much. All right, let's see if we can fix it up. Figured out the glitchiness here. This is the front camera recording when it's glitching out. And I figured out it's this connection. So it's this analog connection, which seems like a little bit of a weak link, but you would want to tuck this up into your roof where it doesn't get bumped or anything. But I just twisted it and then it cleared up. So it's just this 1/8 inch jack here, which is kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, I just kind of inserted it, twisted. Oh, it's not even an 1/8 inch. Anyway, that cleared up the camera problem. So the camera is not defective. Through how do you actually replay the footage? It's fairly simple, but you don't get a thumbnail. It's all based on timestamps and stuff. You're likely not going to be reviewing it on here very much. So you get your A, B, and C. So A is main front camera, B is cabin camera, and C is rear camera. So if I go to C, this one will be rear camera. Yeah, and that's again because of the loose connection. Let me play around with it a bit more. Get into a collision or something, these ones are the right protected ones. So when you're in your main view here, out of your 3 options, you have Files, Camera Settings, System Settings, and Files. And then you hit OK on Files. And then you get your 3, you have Event, Normal, and All. Under Event, those are the ones that it detected a incident. And those ones are the right protected ones that will not be erased, which is indication of lock it. So don't overwrite it. And then it will save that one permanently until you go in and review it. So this will be the one where I dropped it. Right there. That impact was enough to jar the G sensor and then flag it as an impact. Let's go to speaker. It's pretty muddy, pretty low, but enough. This is meant for emergencies. You're not going to be reviewing footage long term on it. Out of the 5 buttons you have up top, there's always this banner across the top which tells you what they do. So for this, I'm just going to hit that and then erase all files. Go to arrow, erase all files, hit OK, and confirm. OK. Now the camera came to me running VTN40A-V3. There's a newer version, N4. So I just got to the information about it. It doesn't seem like it's much, just added polish. The working voltage is 5 volt at 1.5 amp. So really you just need to have a 1.5 amp USB type charger to a USB-C cable, and that would power the camera. Here's all the specs on the sensor. They're all Sony sensors, Starvis, 5 megapixel front, 2 megapixels cabin, 2 megapixel rear. The only thing that's super low resolution is the actual LCD screen on the camera itself. You're only meant for doing that for emergency preview only anyway, and just to make sure that your cameras are aligned properly. It even gives you all the lens details. The front lens is f1.4 aperture 155.
Head southwest on Avenue Gatineau toward Rue de Boulogne. In 400 meters, turn left onto Rue St. Louis, Quebec 307 Sud. In 500 meters, turn left onto the autoroute 50 West, Quebec 148 West ramp to Gatineau, Centerville.
Cabin is f2.0 aperture 165.
Use the left lane to keep left at the fork and follow signs for autoroute 5 Sud, Ottawa. Continue on County Road 8 for 6 kilometers.
Okay, this is a nighttime drive with the OnDash N4. One thing about it is that the cigarette power socket that it comes with has a super bright blue light on it, so I don't like that. It shines blue no matter what way you point it at you. It's so bright, it's kind of lighting up the cabin a bit. So yeah, I would probably tape over it. That's terrible for nighttime driving. You don't want blue lights at all when you're driving. Anyway, we're going to see what the nighttime video quality is like. The interior quality, where it's got the infrared emitters, it's in infrared mode, it seems really good.
Continue on County Road 8 for 6 kilometers.
I've been using that dash cam for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and I feel like I need to just summarize what my feelings are of it after using it for a few weeks. Overall, I really like it, and this is how I end up having it mounted up on my windshield. So I have it on this side of my mirror. This is the cabin view that you guys were seeing. Turn the ignition on, and the dash cam will start right up. So overall, this is how I've been using it for the past few weeks, and I gotta say that works pretty well. A couple of things about it, though, that you should know about. First of all, I have had it crash on me once, where it would just blink the red light once and then not record anything. That only ever happened once, and since then I was able to never have it happen again. I just powered it off, powered it back on again, and that problem went away. I like how lightweight it is. It has not fallen off my windshield since I put it on here. Running the cabling has been a little bit of an issue. It's all temporary. Having the plug up at the top means that you've got this much room that you have to compensate for. So you can't put this right up against the edge because there's no room for the power. And then the other thing is, if I was going to run the rear camera has all of this cabling, and that's one thing I did not really fully test out, was the rear camera, because I felt like it was unnecessary, and it adds a couple of points of failure. When you plug and unplug the rear dash cam from the side of the camera, it reboots it. So if you have a loose connection, it keeps rebooting it. So there's two connections. There's the one here on the end, and then there's also this one in the middle. It's the analog one that was causing me the glitches earlier when I was testing it. Cabin camera can see out the windows. I actually like this cabin camera better as a rear camera because it captures the sides and the rear. Versus this one, which has its uses, but it would only capture the rear. In my opinion, if you're going to buy one of these things, I think that this is the lowest priority item, is having the rear camera. Even though you do want to be able to capture people who are going to rear end you, you can do that with the cabin camera. If your vehicle is set up in a way where you cannot see out the back from the cabin camera, then yes, it would be good to deploy this. But in order to deploy this, you have to route all of this cabling throughout your car. So you would have to find a way to tuck it in. Now, all of my cabling is just being routed very crudely. I'm just kind of hooking it over things as best I can, and then it loops around behind this passenger seat and down into this power socket down here. If you were going to wire up this rear camera, I would recommend pulling up your door sills and routing it through all the bottom area all the way to the rear end. I didn't feel like that was necessary to do, so I'm going to save this for possibly another vehicle that I would end up using this with. If I buy another vehicle, or if I use it in my camper van, then yes, I will deploy this and I'll make a follow-up of using the rear camera. But overall, I must say that the quality of the cameras and the sensors has been very good. I've been very happy with the quality. This one is also going to have excellent quality as well because it has that same Sony sensor and a really nice lens. It's just the issue of deploying it and routing all this cabling effectively in a way that's going to be a reliable connection. And then also you're going to have double cabling coming up and out of your camera here through the side. It's going to be a little bit uglier to have cables going into the side of the camera. That's one downside to this unit. I would have preferred it to have the secondary USB-C input for the rear camera into the base unit. I think that would have been better than having it have to plug into the side. Okay, so those are my thoughts and first use of the VANTRUE OnDash N4. Overall, really great dash cam. I like it. I've been using it ever since I installed it. I think it's a great product actually for what it can do. Now they make so many different models. Go and look at their suite of devices that they offer, and then pick and choose one that fits best for you, because they make some that do 4K, they make some that have triple camera, they make some that have just the cabin and the frontal camera, and so yeah, take a look at what they offer. I'll put links in the description for all the cameras that they sell, including this one, which I do have some extra discount codes to show you on this one if they're still valid by the time I get this up. Take a look at those, give it a try. I think it's an overall good dash camera for what it does. Okay guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new on here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.